شيشان يا أرض الأسود تجلتي فالنصر يستجدى من الرحمن حسبوا السحابة نزهة لجيوب.
Welcome back, and peace be upon you. First we discover we are slaves, then we discover we are basically indebted to the banks, and one wonders how much worse this can get. In this segment we look at the law and religion. In the previous segment we looked at religion and science, and we found that these were two arms that help us understand who we are. Science looks at the physical world and helps us to understand it. Religion helps us in the spiritual world, but spiritual knowledge helps us understand the physical world, and our scientific knowledge helps shed more light on the spiritual world. They are two arms of the same body. The Satanists will have us believe that science and religion are opposed to each other, that they are separate. They wish to create this dichotomy in our mind. The same thing applies with the religion and law. We as individuals, our foundation is our beliefs and our knowledge that God has given us. All the decisions that we make, all the actions that we take are based on this knowledge that we have. And therefore it is the way we react with other people and the way we react in society as a whole will be determined by this knowledge that we have. So our political structure is based on the same knowledge. The idea that we can separate ourselves into a religious compartment and a legal structure or a political structure is a creation of fiction which we have bought, which have been forced upon us by the principle that they apply, that we are not allowed to think for ourselves, and as a result whatever is given we just adopt. Frederick Bastiat, very brilliant person, said this: the law perverted, the law and in its wake all the collective forces of the nation, the law, I say, not only diverted from its proper direction, but made to pursue one entirely contrary. The law become the tool of every kind of avarice instead of being its check. The law guilty of that very iniquity which was its mission to punish. Truly, this is a serious fact, if it exists, and one to which I feel bound to call the attention of my fellow citizens. Think about this: the law perverted, the law doing something that it was never intended to do. What does the protocols tell us? Political freedom is an idea, but not a fact. We need to ask ourselves, why do we have laws? What are laws? In the world in which we live, there are a lot of regulations that we accept for ourselves by which we live. The reason we are told that these laws exist is that it's for our own good, and so we see a lot of these laws being promulgated all the time, and every time we are told this is for your benefit. Now here is a golden rule that you've got to bear in mind. When somebody comes up to you and says, I've got some good advice for you, this is what you should do, you should listen to the person, thank him for his advice, and say, well, I have heard what you have said, I will think about it and I will decide what I'm going to do. Why? Because that final decision is mine to make, not anybody else's. If this person says, no, I know better than you, I know what is good for you, you are going to do this and nothing else, and if you don't do it, I'm going to hit you, you must be very wary of such a person, because such a person 99.9% of the time wants you to do that for his own benefit. And that is why we have these laws. These laws, when we study them in detail, you will find that these laws don't promote our well-being, but they are promoting this bigger agenda that is taking us deeper into enslavement and deeper into the formation of this one world government. These laws taking away all our rights, all our say within ourselves. These rights that we have, which the law says it gives us, Where do these rights come from? Not from another man. These rights are given to us by God. They are inherent in us. They are our rights, and nobody can take them away. No government can give us these rights or take them away. They are ours. The laws that they promulgate serve the purpose of taking away our rights. And this is happening repeatedly. When we look at the question of laws, we need to ask ourselves, why do we have governments? To understand this, we need to go back to when mankind first began living together in groups. Initially, we were nomadic people, groups moving around with their cat, living and stopping wherever they wished. As time went on, groups started coming together, living together in groups. And when you have a large number of people living together, conflict can arise. And we need a mechanism to resolve these conflicts. Now, all of us have ways of resolving our conflicts. We have people we can turn to. We have friends, we have neighbors, we have pastors and priests, people who can help us resolve these conflicts. But if the problem is something bigger than that, society put into place a governing body whose purpose it was to help resolve conflicts. Their purpose was to ensure that they helped individuals enforce their rights, not take away the rights of individuals. So if you have a problem, somebody has done you wrong, you go to the governing body, it will ensure that you can enforce your right. That's all government was meant to do, not to do what it is doing today, where it passes laws that takes away and strips us of all of our rights. In terms of this system of law as we have it at present, there are certain principles, and one of which is we are presumed innocent until proven guilty. And we've got to ask ourselves, what is the meaning of being presumed innocent until proven guilty? Early society adopted this principle because freedom, the society from which this principle arose, was a society of free people. And they knew how important freedom was, and they wanted to ensure that their freedom was preserved at all costs. In fact, they were so determined to preserve the freedom of individuals that they were quite prepared to see a few guilty people be declared innocent rather than see a single innocent person be convicted of a crime which they did not commit. So when you say a person is presumed innocent until proven guilty, what we are saying is the accuser has got to prove the guilt of the person. The person is innocent. If the person who is making the accusation cannot prove the guilt, the person who is accused walks away. The one who is accused doesn't have to prove anything. But when you have this doctrine reversed, and you have a person being declared guilty until proven innocent, what we have is a situation that exists in police states, where over here, a person has to prove he is innocent. He is guilty by definition. He is guilty. He has to prove his innocence. And if he fails to do that, he is condemned. And Saddam Hussein has shown how impossible it is to prove the negative. How do you prove that you are innocent? In a society where guilt is presumed, in a police state, you have the situation where hundreds, thousands, millions